Welcome to the journey. Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining The Journey with Drea. I am your host, Drea, and I got something to talk about today. As you all know, I don't like to waste a lot of time, so let's get right into it. Have you ever had to disconnect from someone because of the abuse that resided within the relationship? And I'm not talking solely about physical abuse. I am talking about psychological abuse. And a lot of people think that psychological abuse always comes in the form of someone saying something to you in a harsh manner. And I have learned over the course of the last week that the abuse doesn't always come in the form of someone yelling at you or cursing at you or cursing you. Sometimes it comes in the form of jokes. One thing that spirit will do is if you keep touching a stove that is hot and you cognitively know that the stove is hot and that you will get burned, spirit will give you that one final burn that will be the one that will gut punch you into reality. And what I mean by that is sometimes spirit has to use the hottest spot that you have, be it something personal, your children, your love life, a close loved one. Spirit will use those things as a final straw to get you to see that you need to remove yourself from a situation. And for me, that is my children. Anyone that knows me knows that you can talk about pretty much anything that has to do with me. You can talk about probably anybody else in my family. You could probably even dig up my deceased father and say things about him. But once you touch them kids, I don't know what happens to me, but it goes down into the pit fires of Hades and brings out the worst in me. And as I dig deep further into this journey of healing, I understand why I am so protective of my children. There were times in my childhood that I felt so unprotected and so underprotected that I have devoted my life to making sure that my children never have to fight these emotional battles alone. And there was a point in my life where I was questioned as to whether my children and I are codependent on each other. And when that question was posed to me, actually, it was a statement. I take that back. It wasn't a question. It was a statement that was made about my child being codependent on me, who, by the way, is autistic and has ADHD and has had some mental health challenges. So just to set this up to let you all or to make you all understand what I'm dealing with here when I speak about the weaponization of my children, if that gives you any clearer picture, if you will. And what I have begun to understand is that when people make statements like that, it shows a level of emotional immaturity. But I digress from my point. My point is when people are no longer able to attack you on a personal level, they always seem to want to take it to a lower level and take it to the thing that they know is going to sting you the most, that is going to impact you the most. And it's crazy because after this more recent incident, I laid in bed and all of the jokes, all of the banter or the comedic banter about little things in my life this person has picked and poked and prodded about all started coming to the surface. Spirit started showing me how this person has been abusive even in simple conversation over the course of my life. Not to mention, they have said some of the most horrible things to me that I've probably ever heard about myself in my life. But what Spirit began to show me is this is what you've been dealing with your whole entire life when it comes to this individual. And now I had to hit you where it hurt you the most, or where I know it's going to hurt you the most, to get you to see that this relationship is unhealthy for you. It is not good for you. It is not good for your psyche. It is not good for your children. But as I laid there and I thought about all of the things that have been said over the years, I started to realize people who have limited emotional intelligence have to break you down or say things that will bring you down to their level to make them feel like they're playing on a level playing field. It's almost like they say to themselves, oh, nope, she's too happy. She looks too healthy. Let me go ahead and break her down. And a lot of times that comes out as jokes. Ha ha ha. Yeah, what about them 3 marriages you had? Ha ha ha. Yeah, what about that house you had go into foreclosure? Ha ha ha. What about that job you lost? These are the jokes that people will say to you jokingly, but they're really intentionally said to hurt you. And as much as they say, I'm just playing, subconsciously, there is something in them that is telling them to say things to you that are hurtful. And they mean it. They have to say or do something to dim your light, to dim your shine, to turn your lights down, to make you feel as bad as they do, to make you experience the pain that they're dealing with. This doesn't have anything to do with you specifically. This has everything to do with where they are and how they feel inadequate within themselves. And then the fallout from that is the emotional hangover that I experienced in the 3 days after being in this person's presence. And I never knew until recently that this is real. This is a real thing. You can have an emotional hangover after experiencing some type of trauma or experiencing some type of hurt. You can go days feeling the residual effect of that negativity. So where am I at right now? I am in a state of trying to process the emotion that comes along with this and figure out what the relationship looks like going forward. And so far, what is best for me is detachment and disconnection. The bucket of emotions that I had available for you is empty. Nothing else exists in that space. So with that, I must release you. I love you, but I have to release you. But I have to release myself from the hurt, the shame, the nastiness, and the bondage of your substance abuse issue. I can no longer stand in that space with you. Nor do I feel the need to give explanation as to why. You know what you did. You know what you said. You know what you've said. You know what you've done. No explanation needed. Again, I want to thank you all for joining the Journey with Drea. I am your host, Drea. I hope you all know that my podcast has become a form of an open journal, just to let you all see that the journey is real and that I am still encountering these things every single day. And it is my hope, as always, that something that I say on this journey resonates in your spirit and helps you on your path. I want to thank you all for joining. Again, this is The Journey with Drea. Have a good one, everyone.
Welcome to The Journey.